Alright. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your man Air Jordan 14 back with a new video. That is a performance review today. It was a shoe that I came across and was kind of intrigued by. I just wanted to see how it performed. Thought some people might want to know too. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. The Air Max Hyperdunk 2010. Those of you probably have already seen my Hyperdunk 2010 performance review that I did way back when, and so I saw these and kind of wanted to see how they acted on the court. Obviously, this is a shoe that is geared more towards your bigger players, as the Hyperdunk is more of a guard and a perimeter player-oriented shoe. So, yeah, as always, you know I start with the inner, because I always say it doesn't matter how good the other attributes of the shoe are. If it's uncomfortable to wear, you're not going to put it on. And hopefully you can, I'll try to zoom in so you can see here. And this is really becoming true more and more of most modern athletic shoes that align with a very material that's smooth to the touch, and you know, there's not any seams within the shoe that cause any rubbing, chafing, hot spots, or anything to that nature. So the inner comfort of the shoe was very, very good, and it was from that standpoint a real joy to wear. Now, excuse me. Let's start kind of with the outsole and work our way back up. And you know, if those of you, if you're familiar with the Hyperdunk 2011, the Air Max Hyperdunk 2011, the Air Max Sensation, the outsole and the tooling is pretty much the same here. What you've got primarily in your forefoot areas here is you've got sectioned herringbone here, in all these areas, a little bit of a, I guess you'd call it a flex groove there, and then you've got the same sectioned off herringbone here on the heel. As far as traction, from that standpoint, it provided pretty solid traction. At no point throughout my wearing of this shoe did I really experience any slipping or sliding or anything like that. When I stopped, the shoe stopped with me, and the traction, you know, the tried and true herringbone performed very admirably. So I was very pleased with the traction. Even I played on some kind of dusty courts, and there was some slight degradation when it picked up some rubber, not rubber, but dust. Because I don't know if you can tell, it's not quite a translucent outsole. It's closer to that than a traditional solid rubber. So sometimes with translucent soles, if they pick up dust, they'll get a little slippery. That was kind of minimized on this one, and the traction overall on these was very good. Moving up to the cushioning here, as you can see, it's a full-length Air Max 360 bag, so you've got heel to toe air. And as more of a perimeter player, I kind of understood what it was going to be like going in. I definitely prefer something a little more responsive and a little lower profile in terms of being closer to the ground. So with this, of course, your foot is a little higher. Air Max cushioning is definitely more firm, since it's obviously made for bigger players. So the cushioning, it did its job admirably. And if this makes any sense, and I'm going to come back to it when I get to the midsole here, it's definitely for a big man. The cushioning's not bad, but if you're someone who likes things like, you know, some of the Zoom or the Lunar Lawn or some of the other foams out there from some of the other companies, having something this high off the ground and then something that's not as responsive could be an issue for you. But it definitely does do its job of, like I said, soaking up impact protection. I didn't have any issues with shin splints or pain in my feet or knees or anything after playing in them. So the cushioning definitely does its job. Moving up here to the midsole, it's pretty much a Phylon midsole here, and augment it with that, and I kind of wanted to touch on this with the cushioning. You got a pretty thick, it's like an ortholite insole here, and that helped somewhat with it not feeling totally hard out of the box, and it didn't really have, in terms of the cushioning, a break-in time, which was kind of good to have that thicker plush sock line or insole within the shoe. So I did want to touch on that. That did help as well. Now, like I said, Phylon midsole in conjunction with the sock line. I don't know why I keep calling it the sock line. The insole and then the Air Max cushioning. So you've got those three things working together, and it did a great job. One of the things that I did find, it wasn't too much of a detraction, but it was something I noticed. Typically, of course, you know, if you're those of you who play in the paint or bigger players, you're kind of more flat-footed. Particularly as you're doing various moves, you're on your heels more. And quicker players on the perimeter tend to be up on their toes more. And with thieves running up and down the court when I was making a stop, the shoe could get kind of slappy at the time. And just what I mean by that is, it had a tendency to just go, when you try to stop or something, just go kerthump when that forefoot hit. It could be in partial because, you know, the nature of the shape of the outsole in terms of the cushioning. It's not really, it's rather flat. So it has a tendency to not really want to be like this. The shoe wants to be more like this all the time. And that was something I had to get used to. Just understanding that was the nature of the shoe. So it can be a little slappy at times, and you can hear it. I could actually hear it and feel it. It wasn't painful, but it was just a reminder of, one, that the shoe was there, and then what kind of shoe that I was playing in. So I wish the transition could have been a little smoother, but then that's kind of the trade-off when you go with a robust 360 airbag. It's not a problem, like I said, if you're playing down low or close to the basket, but out on the perimeter where you're stopping, making cuts, playing D, things of that nature. The slappiness is a bit of a slight distraction and kind of an annoyance, you know, just to be running and then that kerthump.